All right, so we are going to put together the scrub top card. I went ahead and cut all of the pieces out here. So this is the card base, and we've got the score line. I'm just gonna fold down on that score line. And then, you can use a little bone folder to really crease that edge if you need to. Just making sure mine is nice and straight. Okay, and then we've got some decorating to do on the front. So I'm just gonna open my card back up. And I've got some lighter pieces here. So the pocket pieces have little faux stitching. Because these pieces are so small, the holes are actually not gonna punch out, which actually looks even better because then it truly looks like a faux stitch. If these were larger, these would actually be holes that pop out. So just know it's gonna cut all those out. The holes are gonna stay in place, but that's okay because it really gives that nice detailed look that we want. So we've got 2 larger pockets and then 1 smaller one. These are perfect squares. And then we've got the little style here that goes down the front like that. And then you've got little pieces of the stethoscope, which will hang over here. And then to sit on top of the pocket, you've got a pair of scissors, and they just sit right on top. And then for the top pocket, we have a little, looks like a pen. So that one, the part of the pen will sit, the top round part will sit kind of flush to the edge, and then the little part will kind of go over the edge of the pocket. And then you've got extra options here if you want to make the little heart and the earpiece a different color. So I went ahead and put that in there too. So let's start with that, and I'm gonna attach those pieces. So I am just using some liquid glue here, and I'm just gonna put a little dab of glue on here. It doesn't need to be a whole lot. And then just line this piece up. And you know what? There is a right and wrong side to this. And that was the wrong side, so it lines up this way. So let's put some glue on this side. And then I'll add my heart on top. So this is just your basic paper piecing. Okay, I'm gonna set that aside to dry, and then we can do the same thing with the other part of the stethoscope. Since there is a right and a wrong side, let's fix these up first. Okay. And then I'm just gonna put glue down on here. I'm just gonna put a dab of glue on the earpiece. And then just a couple little spots of glue along the edge. Again, we don't want a ton. These are small pieces we're working with. Okay. And then we can attach this on top. So this is a holographic kind of silver paper. I think I got it at Hobby Lobby maybe a few years ago. And I've just kind of went through my scraps and tried to find something that would work for this. I'm just getting this lined up. Okay, so those look good. And I'm gonna go ahead and put my little top ribbon piece on next. Again, there is a right and a wrong side for this. So you just want to make sure you've got it laying right. You've got the edges on these, and you just want to make sure those are going to go flush with the edge of the paper. And that is how you'll know you've got it going the correct direction. Oh my gosh, dropping it all over. Way too much glue. I'm just going to try to spread that glue out. Okay. So like I said, there is a right and a wrong, and it's going to go on this direction. I'm just going to measure up that V, and then again, it should be flush right up at the top. And if those are flush, and you're flush right in kind of that opening V, this should just lay down perfectly. Okay, so with the pockets, you know, if you wanted to, you could use a pop dot on there. I think that might give it too much since these pieces are just laying flush. I am going to grab my ruler and using what's on my lines, my grid on the paper, I'm going to use that ruler on top, and then that's going to help me make sure these are lined up straight across from each other. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on my little pocket piece. And then the other thing you could do, let's use the inches side. I can also measure and put the edge of the paper on 1 inch. And let's make sure that our page is straight here. So we're flush up there on that line. And then I'm going to go straight across here. And I'm going to set my corner in at 2. And then I know I'm going to come in from there. Let's do 1/4 inch. And lay that down. That way I know it'll be nice and straight. And then on the other side, I've got it flush at the top. So then when I go to do this other side, again, I'll line up a number and then come in 1/4 inch from there. So now I'm going to line the 5 up on the edge here. I've still got them on the dots here, so it's nice and flush. And then so I'm going to go in 1/4, and then that's where my pocket's going to go. So now I know that they are perfectly squared to each other and the same distance from the edge. Okay. And then I can take my scissors. Again, you want this piece to be flush, so you want to make sure you've got it going the correct direction. Put a little bit of glue on there. I mean, you could put the scissors in either pocket. You just want to make sure that the bottom, you know, that you're putting it on the right way so that the bottom stays nice and flush. And I've got a little too much glue, so I'm just using my little piercing tool here to get rid of the extra glue. Even though it'll dry clear, I like to try to get rid of it if I can. Okay, and I didn't really get enough glue under that top piece, so I'm just gonna take, I've got a little sticky note here, so I'm just gonna put a little bit of glue on here. And I like this because it's thinner paper, so now I can take it and go under that little edge and just stick that down. Okay, so now we've got this top pocket. And so I'm gonna line, let's look at where this is gonna go. That's gonna line up at the top there. And I wanna make sure I have enough room. Okay, so again, I'm gonna line this up at the top, make sure it's nice and square. And then, that looks good. And then I'm just gonna pick a line here. So again, I'm coming at the 5, and then I'm gonna come in 1/4 of an inch, so that way this pocket is lined up with the same spacing as my bottom pocket. Let's put some glue on there. I'm coming in 1/4 inch. Okay. And then we've got our little pen cap. So for the pen, you know, you've got, it's a small shape here, but you've got your bigger piece and then your small piece. I'm only gonna put glue on this bigger part because that small part's actually gonna sit over the pocket. So I'm only putting glue on this kind of larger oval shape. So that will sit flush with the top of my card, or of the pocket. And then I'm gonna let that other part hang over the pocket. And I did not put a score line on here or anything, but you could certainly, you know, give it a little bit of a score yourself if you wanted to help. But I'm just gonna press and hold that on there, and you can see it's got a little bit of lift. So just a little bit of dimension there, but that looks a little more realistic. And then all we have left are the pieces of our stethoscope. So again, those should line up flush at the top. So I'm just gonna put glue on the back side here. And you know, you can kind of put these over wherever you want on here. I like to make them sit kind of flush next to the rib of the shirt. All right, and then we'll just do the other one here. And I'm just lightly dabbing some glue on there, trying not to get too much. Ooh, I got butterfingers today. All right. See if I can pick this up without getting glue on everything. Okay, so I'm just gonna line this up close to that rib there. Okay, so that is it for the front. You could always, you know, put somebody's name on the pockets or put RN or something on there if you wanted. And then for the inside, you've just got this piece here. You could stamp a sentiment, do a little print and cut, and this just goes here on the inside. You should have a nice little border around the edge there. So I'll go ahead and put this one in. So this is slightly smaller than your typical A2 4¼ by 5½. So it'll still fit in your normal envelope size for that. Like I said, it's just slightly smaller because I wanted to be able to cut it out of an 8½ by 11. So it just needed a little bit smaller to get it to work on there, with the extra arms and everything. Okay, so when you measure it here, we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just a little under 5½ tall. So this will still fit in your typical 4¼ by 5½ envelope. And here is your finished card.